Welcome back to the DeliverThat platform, folks. I'm your host, Ben Alkire. Thank you so much for consuming the content morning, afternoon, and evening. We appreciate it. As always, if you could, hit that subscribe button down below. That's going to help us out more than you could ever know. I have an amazing episode of Deliveringmore to get into with you folks today. I have with me a founder, restaurateur, board advisor, and real estate professional with his newest adventure, the CEO of Hot Palate America, the parent to Pepper Lunch, the Sizzle It Your Way DIY Japanese concept. Let's get to know Troy Hooper.
Hey, thanks, Ben. Glad to be here. Appreciate the invitation. Look forward to the conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I greatly appreciate your time and everything. Thank you for allowing me to reschedule to a quick date. I know I scheduled that first date, then had to go off on a little vacation, so I'm very appreciative of your time. Where are you out in California? I know you're on the conference tour these days, so where'd I catch you in?
Yeah, I'm at the home office here in Ventura, California, and we'll be hitting the road here pretty soon. As you know, the conference season is underway, so picking and choosing, but going to the big ones, and we'll be on the road soon.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I'm sure we'll catch you out there. Would you mind? I like to this is our first time meeting virtually, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it. But I like to do a little segment called This or That for an icebreaker. I'll run you down, give you one or two options. You just pick one or the other, and we'll dive into the answer dependent on what you give me.
Sounds like fun. Let's go.
All right, we'll start it out. Troy, this or that, hot or iced coffee?
Ice.
Nice. You got are you a homebrew guy? You have a frequent flyer miles at a local establishment?
Nope. Starbucks is the one and only because it's everywhere.
All right. Easy enough. What about on road trips? Would you prefer to be the driver or passenger?
I am always the driver.
Okay. That tends to be the answer. I feel like with a lot of my correspondence is that
fan thing.
Yeah.
It's a lack of giving up control. Yeah, I'm better if I'm driving.
Okay. How about I'm not really sure if you would consider Ventura a city or suburb. So how about city or suburbs?
It depends on the city. I love me some New York, Chicago, Miami. Certain cities have that thing, right? So I think it depends on where. There's a lot of great suburbs out there. Downtown Phoenix wouldn't be my go-to in the Phoenix area. Obviously, you got Scottsdale and Tempe and some other areas that are pretty fun. So I think it depends on where you're at.
Okay. I'll take that. How about dress up or dress down?
Boy, I am trying really hard to dress down, where I wear a jacket with a pocket square and a lapel pin, but with jeans. And I'm trying to go to the more casual shoe realm. So trying to get more like my friends Greg Majewski, Jeff Alexander, and Zach Oates out there, with kind of bringing it down a little bit as the polo shows.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm pretty much a hoodie every day with the jeans. So I consider it dressed down, but I would like to say it's dressed up for me, because when I get home, I'm sweatpants immediately, just as soon as possible. What in terms of communication, texting or calling?
Texting or slacking, because slacking is like texting, but please don't call me.
Okay. Yeah, Slack's big time. DeliverThat foundational item in the departments as well for us. Last one, and this is big from the restaurateurs that I have on the show that I like to end with. Would you rather go out to eat or cook at home?
I would say we eat out 90% of our meals now. We're trying to switch that back. We're trying to get back to a little bit healthier in-house, but boy, we got a 3.5-year-old, and between two busy executives' work schedules and in life in general, just really don't find the window to cook. So would love to cook, but we do eat out most of our meals.
Okay. I appreciate that. I feel like we got through that nice and easy. That was some good stuff. Aside from where you're at, Ventura, California, things like that, you mentioned the wife and kids. What is family life for you like these days?
Hectic always. We've got a 3.5-year-old boy that goes to school 5 days a week if the school's open 5 days a week with all these holidays. But, my wife's an executive in the hospitality industry, and We're both go, go, go. And I do a lot of travel, obviously, in my role. So, it's juggling. We're always juggling who, what, where, when. We live by that digital calendar. We carve out every day a little bit of time, in the morning, and I'm unavailable for about 3 hours every afternoon, and then I work again at night to make up for that. But it's important to prioritize and carve that time out. But at the same time, we're both pretty busy working professionals.
What about your time in California? Is that where you were born, where you were raised? I know getting into the college, you went to FIU, Florida International. So you Florida born and raised. Where'd you grow up?
I'm a third generation Miamian, which is really rare. And I graduated with my business degree from FIU, but I am a third generation Miami Hurricane. My grandfather went to second class. My dad was actually born on campus at Doctors Hospital at the University of Miami. So Miami born and raised my whole life, and found my way out to California in 2014. My wife is from Westlake Village, Moore Park, California. So we live with about 25 minutes from there right now, and just had to bring it out to the family.
Hell yeah, hell yeah! I love that. Love the family aspect of all things. How about your time getting into the restaurant business as a whole? What did you grow up? Did you have a first like dishwasher, server, host kind of job getting into this industry? I know a lot of the people who are mainstays are usually early and often their first job were kind of in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, I was a busboy, right? So it always starts dishwasher, busboy, host, right? So yeah, I was a busboy, but I was really born into it. My dad owned a couple of construction companies, and one of those focused on bars, nightclubs, and restaurant new build and remodel. And so I actually grew up on the site of a construction site of a restaurant, bar, nightclub my entire life. So it really born me right into it. I did the regular basic start as a busser job and worked my way up and became a kitchen manager, went to culinary school, and then got my business degree. So tying all that together, I kind of have a well-rounded foundation early in my life, very young. We're talking about 16, 17, 18 years old, starting that process. And coming from the construction side of it, really understood how to build and start and grow a restaurant. So I've been on the management side really ever since graduating college, and haven't looked back, and just wherever the fun takes me is where I end up.
What you mentioned the culinary school, was that I know the high school I went to had a culinary program. Was that something you did during high school, or how'd you get into that?
No, I graduated early. I got lucky. I was part of an interesting new program starting in sixth grade, which started this idea of sort of college point style school in our district. It was a test they did, and because of that, I actually got to graduate almost a year and a half early from high school, because if you went to summer school and you took AP classes, you basically earned enough points like college to that told you when you graduated. It wasn't based on your grade. It was an interesting program I got to be a part of, and so I graduated young. So I went to Johnson and Wales University at 17 years old, and so Johnson and Wales at the time was culinary only back in the day. Now it's a full blown university system. But I went to I wanted to be a chef. I thought I wanted to cook for a living, own a restaurant, be Michelin star guy, all that, and I cooked for 6 years. I cooked all through college and business school, and just realized that I love to cook. I love the creative side of the business, but I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I'm a builder. I'm a creator. I'm analytical. I'm kind of creative and analytical, both sides of the brain. So it just cooking in a kitchen and getting yelled at and getting pants thrown at me. By the way, I might look a little younger than I am. I come from the old school where that stuff was pretty normal. So that got old pretty quick. And after about 6 years of cooking through school, I decided to go on to the management side and hit the front of the house.
Yeah, yeah. I've a similar upbringing in restaurants as well. My first gig was a dishwasher at a place called Corky's Cafe in Jackson Township, and the owner at the time, her name was Amanda, and she was similar in nature. It was a very tough working environment, I guess you could call it, where it seemed like you knew when you walked in the door whether it was going to be a good shift or it was going to be very problematic, like very immediately. You always could feel the energy very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of hopped from one toxic kitchen to another. So after about three or four of those, I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. If this is the way it is, this ain't for me. And that's okay. It gave me a great foundation in the back of the house to understand that side of the business.
Nice. And then so you graduate FIU with the business administration in 96. And then in 2005, you established Kiwi Restaurant Partners. So pre-Kiwi, can you walk me through what we did from 96 to 05?
Yeah, so I worked in luxury hotels, restaurant groups, and ultimately Caribbean resorts. And so I worked my way up really on the hotel F&B side, because even the luxury or fine dining restaurants I worked at were in that space. And so that's where I cut my teeth, where I climbed the ladder, so to speak. You get a lot of education really fast in those environments. They're meant to sort of progress you quickly if you want to adopt, and understand how different systems and businesses run. So spent most of my time there. And then, yeah, the Kiwi group was founded as a side project initially, where I had people in the business asking me to come and help them start up their restaurant or refine or, recover, issues in their restaurant. And so I was doing some a la carte consulting while still sort of doing the corporate life, right? So I continued to do the corporate life for a number of years, while also doing some side consulting and projects to help folks out. And that's really where I learned that for me, I'm a very analytical, kind of see the big picture from 100,000 feet to an inch off the ground, and zoom in and out pretty easily. And so that put me in a position to really enjoy doing that kind of work, which ultimately led to our management company. I created Kiwi Hospitality Partners to be a turnaround management. I really love the challenge of walking in to a broken system, a business that's in trouble, and really taking on the challenge with little or no money and turning around those businesses, either because the owner wanted to sell it or there was a new ownership coming in. So I ended up building a pretty significant consulting and management company that allowed us to go in and manage bars, nightclubs, restaurants, ultimately multiple hotels, and then we got into the private club and golf space as well. So we did that for about 15 years, and then finally burnt out, and really just wanted to play with this emerging restaurant brand stuff. Is just a whole lot of fun.
What in your consulting days, what are some of like the staple things that people are reaching out for in those kind of environments?
We've been in the negative for years. How do we solve this? We can't figure it out, right? So, and the answer is always people. The one thing that most people, as they get in trouble, as the finances slide, as the quality of service or quality of food slides, they panic and they focus on the wrong things. And so it's pretty universally understanding how to motivate people, how to recover and reorganize a group, how to, recategorize people's roles and re-energize their understanding of their contribution to the business and what the goals of the business are. It's very fundamental, right? And so, my specialty has always been getting those groups of people to buy into a vision, understand their part in achieving that vision, and then really putting the roadmap in front of them, giving them the tools, resources, knowledge, and experience that they need to be successful, and letting them do their job. So pretty universal truths that can go to any business. I just really happen to love it in the hospitality business.
Hell yeah. People first, always, all the consumer end, the in-house. That's always something to keep front of mind. And you mentioned working on these emerging concepts is kind of what you're passionate about nowadays. And I know you did found your own two separate concepts, Sandwich and Nourish. A few of the partnerships, I believe, that were intertwined with your relationship with your wife. Along those lines, I know it's a little maybe close to home, but could you talk me through that and how what experience was like actually founding your own restaurant concepts?
Yeah, so Nourish unfortunately never got to the light of day because March 17th, 2020,
Wow.
the day that our group was standing in the lobby of a building ready to collect a significant check to build the first Nourish. So believe it or not, we expect Nourish to come to life probably next year. But Sandwich is my first restaurant concept. I thought about it at 2 a.m. For about 6 years, planned everything out for it, and got the opportunity to build a pilot beta and test out the recipes and the model. And so what we did was, because of the pandemic, rather than have all these sort of beta concepts, which there were multiple that we had acquired and been a part of, we decided to shut that whole thing down, reorganize it, and we're going to be relaunching all of those concepts. We have 8 concepts under the Nourish banner, and those concepts will come to life starting hopefully again next year. But for now, it's on the shelf, and I again, creating, building, we've been doing it for others for a long time, and we're looking forward to getting it off the ground and doing it for ourselves here soon.
Yeah, it was very intriguing looking up the websites and seeing the multiple brands you had listed under the Nourish facet of things. So would you call it like a Kitchen United sort of thing, like where it's multiple concepts under one roof, or is it all concepts that you're creating yourself and then building out under that one brand?
Yeah, they're all our concepts. So it's a micro food hall concept. So the idea is that whether we build a pod kitchen or we're in a true food hall or food court, or we're brick and mortar, which we intend to build brick and mortars with that idea as well, is that you'll walk into a Nourish and there'll be 5 to 8 menus, which are 5 to 8 separate brands, not unlike a food court or food hall, but we have created and curated all of those menus, and they all intertwine across some common brand promises of being regional, seasonal, sustainable, and organic where possible ingredients. So we direct source those ingredients from farms within 350 miles, so that we have a sustainable, lower carbon footprint, and we're also able to get the freshest, highest quality products. So that's the thesis of the concept, and yeah, it's going to hopefully bring healthier, lighter food in a much more convenient and accessible way.
Hell yeah, Nourish. Well, hey, 2025, I think is what you mentioned on the horizon. So hopefully we see it come to light. I'm ready. I'm ready to go and ready to test it out when it hits the waters. We're now kind of caught up to date, and I'm excited to talk about this latest endeavor you have on your plate. Obviously, you have the Pepper Lunch background, which is amazing. You got the logo on the polo and everything, so I love to see those type of things. But Hot Palate America is pretty interesting. I'd never previously been aware of it. I think that's kind of the purpose of what your position as CEO now is, to bring this concept of Pepper Lunch and Hot Palate America to the States and kind of raise awareness. But to invest your time in something like this initially, how did you become aware of this concept, and what was your first experience within it?
So the short answer is I did a podcast. I appeared on a podcast in February of 22, and a few months later, received a call, took a meeting with a founder of a small 3-unit restaurant group, and the investor and COO of the holding company of that brand was on the call to sort of meet me and understand what the conversation might be about, how my consulting practice might help that brand. And we had a short meeting, and about 2 months later, I got an email from him, and it said, "Hey, Troy, I've got a friend that's been struggling with trying to get their Asian brand brought to America and expanded. They need some advice. Would you mind meeting with him?" And I said, "No, of course, be happy to." 2 days later, I'm at the Sheraton LAX, and myself and the global CEO of the brand both thought we were there to talk about how I can just give them some resources, make some introductions, help them on their journey, from a pretty simple, friendly consulting sort of mindset. 90 minutes later, he asked if I'd be the CEO of the holding company and launch this brand in North America. So it was a pretty short interview. It worked out well. We realized that what they needed and what Kiwi Restaurant Partners as a consulting practice offered were well matched. And so they actually hired our consulting firm first. And then once we gave them a 3-year budget and a strategic launch plan, they basically looked at that and said, "Well, there's nobody better to actually execute your plan than you. So would you come on, and can we insource you? Can we make you CEO?" And so we did this hybrid model last year where I was actually CEO of the brand, and Mark Bailey, my COO of the consulting practice, and my partner, we ran both sides of the coin. I was brand, he was ops, right? And so he was franchising. So we built the infrastructure with a small team last year, and then they ended up insourcing the rest of the team this year. So we just brought everybody on to Pepper Lunch because we really believe in it. We saw it in that first 90 minutes. I did. Once we talked about it, looked at it, went and experienced it, we knew there was there. We knew there was a really special recipe from a business perspective. Not only the food was amazing, the quality was great, the value was incredible, but there was some special sauce there on the business side and the model itself. And by the way, 30 years old, 500 stores at the time, about 460 stores, opening 5 stores a month globally. Great operating and management team in place. Phenomenal new owners. It was bought in 2020 by a large private equity firm. Fantastic owners that were really dedicated to providing those resources and guidance and support that are necessary. I mean, all of the ingredients were there for a real hit. And so we just couldn't resist the opportunity to be a part of it.
That's amazing. 90 minutes to become CEO. In short, obviously, I'm sure the conversation and process was much more elaborate, but
it took 3 more months to actually do the paperwork, but
yeah.
ultimately it worked out.
That is still a hell of a story any way you cut it and tell it. And you kind of mentioned there over 500 locations and 15 countries around the world. So what were those initial problems that they brought to you, and what the troubles in bringing the concept to the United States were?
Yeah, so their model, the previous owner's model, was a master franchise model where they would give the entire country to a franchisee and then they'd be responsible for growing it. And our US franchisee had done a phenomenal job and built 5 stores inside of 20 months. But they just weren't as familiar with, and this is the struggle for most brands coming to America, or even people starting brands in the United States and trying to franchise them, is the system is sort of two-sided. There's the cheap, fast, and nothing ever happens version, and the slower slash very expensive slash ride this wave for a while till something happens method. And we're somewhere in between. We can make the high quality, do it all, do it right model. Just we're able to do it a lot faster and scale quicker. So really the brand had sort of fits and starts of trying to build corporate stores and run it from Japan, and then try to have this franchisee be the master and replicate, but they weren't from the US, they're from Australia. There are fantastic partners in Australia. And so it's just a matter of finding the right people and team and experience that understands how to take a brand to market in the United States, how to build the infrastructure, how to really put together the right program so that high quality multi-unit franchisees are interested and willing to invest and be a part of the brand's trajectory. So, there is sort of a secret sauce. It's not so secret. I talk about it every day on shows like this, but once you've done it a few times and you've had some success, really it's about understanding that there's a system and a process. And if you follow that system and process and you build it with the right people, with the right intent, you're going to end up building a great brand. And so, it was just the matter of them finally finding the right people, not only in Asia, some of the leadership put in place in Asia that I get to work with every day, but then finding folks like ourselves that can, that really understand the US system, North American system, because we'll definitely do Canada as well. And putting that in place for them it was the critical linchpin that flipped it for them, that made it doable.
That's impressive. And you mentioned, I believe you said one franchisee building 5 locations over the past 20 months or within 20 months. What is the expansion plan over the coming years, or just in 2024 in general?
Yeah, so we have a 10-year, 600 unit plan. And then after that, along the way, we'll reevaluate what infill looks like. But our white space analysis tells us, after a lot of testing, that we can probably build about 1,200 pepper lunches in the United States. So we cut that in half to be conservative, to pick top tier 1, tier 2 locations. But the goal is I would say aggressive, but achievable. So we sold 32 locations to 4 partners last year in the last 5 months of the year. This year we'll sell about 100 locations to about a dozen partners. We're on an aggressive development schedule. We're only working with multi-unit partners that can build at least 2 a year. And so they have to build 5 stores in 3 or 10 stores in 6. And they pay all their fees up front. So they're highly dedicated, really motivated. They have the experience. They're excited about building multiple pepper lunches at a time. So in that regard, it'll allow us to compound. We'll open about 5 stores here in 2024. We're going to open 24 to 30 next year. And then we're probably going to have to cap it at about 60 a year, because the compounding effect of bringing on new partners over 3 years, and them having to build 2 a year after that first year, is going to put us in a pretty strong growth position. So we're really excited about what we see ahead for growth. But at the same time, we're really, really focused on quality and execution. We don't wane on our training. We don't sacrifice in our supply chain. We've set all that up for success already, and so we're ready to go. And we are moving pretty fast. We are managing a lot of fun stuff, and at the same time, we're building our team internally ahead of the game. We're getting way ahead of it and building the team and getting them up to speed in advance of really the necessity for their roles, so that they're already here and ready to go as that volume starts to hit, for support that we want to provide the absolute world-class support that you'd expect from a top brand.
And you mentioned obviously the experience. I think is what I've been seeing all over LinkedIn. Obviously, your yeah, post with Sean, and you mentioned going on other shows and all this stuff that you're being featured in. And I think that's kind of what the selling aspect of this concept is, right? You mentioned the food, you mentioned the sourcing and the people in the business, but the experience is kind of what retains people and brings them back. So how confident are you? I know this might be a silly question as the CEO of a company, but how confident are you in that experience? And can you just explain what the uniqueness behind that experience to Pepper Lunch actually is?
Yeah, and this is one of those things that you just couldn't make it up when we found it, or they brought it to us. We call it experiential fast casual. And I challenge anybody, because being in this business 32 years this year, it's a rare thing, particularly in fast casual, especially in fast casual. Honestly, not since Chipotle and Blaze Pizza inventing the down the line concept for certain food products, have we seen something new. And by the way, this supersedes both of those by a dozen years or more, because it was founded in 1994 in Tokyo, Japan. But the idea that we bring you a sizzling hot plate and that you don't have a cooking implement, you're not sitting there for an hour to 90 minutes. We can bring you a very healthy portion of high quality ingredients. And really, at the end of the day, it's protein rice and veg, or protein pasta and veg on a plate. And that you get to add sauces and spices the way you like it. You can add toppings and things the way you like it. And you're going to sit there and stir and sizzle and savor it your own way. That's a really unique thing. Experiential fast casuals just don't really exist. There's no other like build your own in front of you kind of environment. That's not a full casual or finer dining experience, right? And so in this QSR move fast, get in and out in 20 minutes for $20, it's a really unique thing. And so that is, and it's not a gimmick. It's really the actual model for how the food is best enjoyed. We could make it for you in the back on a sizzling cast iron and bring it to you, but it's just not the same. You get to cook it your way and really meld the flavors the way you want them. And so that makes it really unique. And so it's not a gimmick. It's really cool. People love it. It's very Instagrammable. You can't walk into a Pepper Lunch and not see phones out filming and taking pictures. And that's one element of it. But I'll tell you, one of the things that we find is most interesting is that customers who come for the very first time, within 2 or 3 days, return with new people for two reasons. The experience, they want to be the person that shares this unique new experience with other people. But they actually tell us the reason they come back is that the food is incredibly craveable. We're not breading and deep frying and really bastardizing the ingredients. The ingredients are raw with salt and pepper on them. You want to add our garlic soy or Japanese steak sauce or teriyaki sauce to it, and your volume, you do that. But the answer is you could eat this just the way we bring it to the table, and it's delicious, and you're gonna want more of it in a couple of days. It's just a flavor profile that sits in your brain and goes, hey, you want that again, go get it. And so that's been a really fun surprise for me, being newer to the company and newer to the concept, is people really, really crave this, 3, 4 days out, and they want to bring their friends and expose them to something new and exciting and interesting. So, it's very approachable. It's very, recognizable food. And so people aren't intimidated, and they want to come out and show more people what it's all about.
It sounds amazing. To say my mouth is watering right now and I haven't eaten yet today is not explaining it enough. At home, I'm a steak and potato guy, meat and potato guy. My fridge is steaks. My cabinets are rice. So this is right up my alley is unbelievable. And I just want to know from your experience specifically, if you're walking in there, what's your go-to hot palate at Pepper Lunch?
Yeah, so 55% of our sales is one menu item. Our beef pepper rice, that's the concept dish. That's the staple, authentic dish that we were founded on. It is something that Japanese homes do consume for special occasions and family gatherings and things like that. And so we tell people to get and if you're a little hungrier than most, then get the jumbo, because it's twice the beef. But get the beef pepper rice. And then I always add garlic chips. We have these roasted garlic chips that are insanely cool. I've never seen them anywhere else before this concept. But you can add onions and mushrooms and things the way you want. Heck, we even have cheese and kimchi, so you can really do it up the way you want. But I would order the classic jumbo beef pepper rice with roasted garlic chips. Try that out for the very first time, and then after that, we've got 20 plus more items to get into with chicken and salmon and shrimp and pasta and other rice dishes with different sauces. So lots of variety and opportunity, and a great salad. We have a phenomenal entree salad, a great to-go salad, and right now we do tofu for vegans. Certainly, there's ways to make this your way for vegetarians, and we're actually going to be working on some R&D projects to bring some alternative non-animal proteins to the table here soon. So there is something for everybody.
What's the learning curve on cooking that steak? Like how quickly, if I'm walking in there, am I able to get that medium rare piece of steak immediately, or is that going to take a little testing on my end?
All right, so Ben, when you come to Pepper Lunch, you have to order our certified Angus beef ribeye, right? You're talking about 14 ounces of ribeye steak, right? And the rice even comes on the side because the steak is so big. And what happens is we cook it for about 20, 30 seconds on one side, then we flip it over, put our herb butter on there, and send it out to you, right? And we have this garlic, pepper, herb margarine that we put on there. Gives a great flavor and moisturizes the meat. Basically, when it gets to the table, you're going to want to take that off and put it on top of the vegetables. And now it stops cooking, right? It's not actively cooking on the hot iron. And so that will get you your medium rare. But, we send the steak out sliced into about 5 fingers for you. So you're not even sitting there cutting it. You can see that the steak's cooking evenly. And if you want it medium rare, take it off immediately. You want it medium, leave it there for another 30 seconds. You want to add the steak sauce or the soy sauce to it to kind of caramelize it. You can do that right on the plate. You can really do this. We call it DIY teppanyaki. You can really do this however you want to do it to your taste and your liking.
Teppanyaki. I saw that word or whatever you call it on the website, and I was a little scared to pronounce it without someone saying it beforehand.
Teppanyaki. Yep.
Teppanyaki. Okay, I'm happy we got there. I'm sold. I'm sold on the concept, the experience, everything. It looks amazing. I love the content you guys are putting out with it. I think they did a hell of a job in sourcing you to help them kind of expand the concept. And I hope to see you guys get to those 600 locations and hopefully we get to that 1,200 mark that we're underestimating at this point in time, man. I really do appreciate your time in the conversation. And before we get out of here, let the people out there know where can they find Pepper Lunch at this moment in time? Where will it be in the immediate future? And we'll get out of here.
Yeah, sounds great. Pepperlunchrestaurants.com is the best way. And it's the same handle on our social medias. Everywhere you find social media content, you'll find us. And then, right now we're in the greater Los Angeles area with 3 stores. We're in Las Vegas and Houston. We're also in Guam if you're headed out that way on vacation. We're in Vancouver, Canada as well. Coming soon, multiple stores in the Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tempe, Arizona area and the suburbs. We've got a location selected for St. Petersburg, Florida, working on Tampa and Gainesville and Orlando. So those are all coming hopefully soon. We just opened New York and have some great partners coming on board there. Seattle, Washington is on the board here very soon as well. And Utah. So if you're in the Salt Lake City area, you're going to find us getting under development there here pretty soon. So, you're going to see at least a dozen stores in the process of being constructed and opened over the next 12 or so months from now. And as you said, the trajectory is well underway. The rocket ship has left the pad, and we're just trying to steer it to success here.
Awesome, man. I greatly appreciate your time and the story, everything about it. However we can go about getting Cleveland, Ohio, or Columbus kind of bumped up that list, let me know.
Actually have somebody who's optioned Cincinnati. They have the option. They haven't started the process yet, but it won't be long. But hey, look, if you're out and about for restaurant conferences, conventions, summits, expos, whatever, look, Las Vegas is a pretty popular spot for those kinds of things. If you're flying through Houston to go on a Caribbean vacation or something, definitely a worthwhile pit stop. But we'll be in your neighborhood sooner than later.
Yeah, and we'll be in Vegas for Food on Demand coming up in May. So maybe we can get a little content worked out.
That's where you're going to get your $32 14, 16 ounce ribeye. I'm gonna make sure you get that on me, and we'll show you how to sizzle it your way.
Hell yeah, Troy. Thank you so much, man. I greatly appreciate it. And pepper lunch coming very soon to you folks out there. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.